Yo, hello and welcome back, guys. My name is West. You're watching F4 Fitness, and guess what? We're reacting to another death battle. It's Magneto versus Tetsuo, Marvel versus Akira. Here's the thing. We know Magneto because Magneto is freaking Magneto.
Magneto, Marvel's mutant master of magnetism.
Tetsuo Shima, Akira's telekinetic terror of Neo Tokyo.
But I don't know that other guy. I never watched Akira. So this would be interesting to see.
They exist within.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win.
Like, here's the thing. If you play video games, if you watch movies, if you are in this time and age, you know who Magneto is.
Likely no conflict tested humanity more than the Second World War. In the primary Marvel 616 universe, this
So I'm excited
different,
to see who Magneto is. Who that other guy is.
You may know
Other
him
than
as
Magneto.
Magnus, Eric, or Max. But if you ask him, he'd say his true name is Magneto.
As a Jewish child in Nazi Germany, Magneto's early life was, well, extremely traumatic.
Even after eventually escaping certain death with his future wife, misfortune always followed wherever he went.
Thanks to his unexpected mutation called the X gene, the mark of a superhuman. After settling down in Russia with his new family, the KGB quickly found out about this quirk, so they burned his house down with his own daughter inside.
Naturally,
Brutal.
he snapped and killed them all.
Yep.
I don't blame him. I'd do that too. Too bad his wife didn't get it and ditched him, though. But that's when Magneto made a choice. Since humans hurt
Yo,
him his entire life,
Sir
he
Ian
never saved
McKellen
them in the name of mutant
as
superheroes.
Magneto.
At first,
What a
Magneto turned to
casting.
the telepathic powerhouse Charles Xavier and his fledgling team of heroes. But his new friend wasn't thrilled with the idea of, subjugating the human race. So, Magneto formed his own team of mutants, the Brotherhood.
Magneto can telekinetically move, bend, and reshape any metal he's aware of. Bullets, vehicles, buildings, you name it. Even himself when he manipulates his personal magnetic field for flight and energy barriers.
Magnetokinesis is far more versatile than it would appear at first glance. The blood in your body has iron in it. The air has traces of lead and mercury. Whole mountains are lined with metallic ore. The
Yep.
Earth itself is
Magneto is so
surrounded by a
powerful, he can
literal
just do
magnetic
this
field.
and crush you, even if you're not wearing any metal.
He can detect magnetic fields at such a huge range, he can even pinpoint Earth's magnetic rays while stranded on a planet in another galaxy. And guess what? He was able to use
Was
those
that
rays to
Batgirl?
pull himself back to Earth in a single day.
That
His
looked
range
like
is even more
Barbara
remarkable than
Gordon.
that. Did you know that in 1820, physicist Hans Christian Ørsted discovered that electric currents, like those of electrons and protons and atoms, produce their own magnetic fields? Magneto can fine-tune his control to affect these very subatomic particles. Dummy here will illustrate such a particle, with positively charged protons and negative electrons.
My life is as meaningless as an atom is small.
So what you're saying is Magneto could, like, yank one of those out.
Correct, potentially changing an atom's entire chemical makeup. However, neutrons do not have a charge, and without the ability to adjust those to accommodate the change in atomic mass, the atom would become unstable and...
Finally!
Yep, this is Magneto's power.
do that. Magneto's violent protest against humankind clashed with Xavier's peaceful reconciliation, not unlike the ideologies taught by Malcolm X and Dr. King, by whom Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were inspired. Magneto would spend most of his career pushing Xavier away to prove his philosophies superior, which meant doing battle with Xavier's school of thought, quite literally.
And Baldy's mind powers are no joke, but
I mean, such a great chemistry between these two. The chemistry between Sir Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and the chemistry between Magneto and Charles Xavier.
Zero to hero, the guy who held up the skies of Olympus for Atlas? That Hercules.
Seems sensible. Magneto once used the Earth's magnetic field to overwhelm the Phoenix Force, which can effortlessly destroy planets, let alone far more.
Hell, if he really wanted to, Magneto could totally just fling the Earth off its axis.
It's entirely possible he may have eventually resorted to just that. Over time, it became clear Magneto's war was doing far more harm than good for his fellow mutants, however well-intentioned he may have been at first.
Luckily, he later realized he was going a bit overboard and began reevaluating his perspective. Good for you, Mags. It's really tough to recognize when you're the baddie.
It took time and patience not just from Magneto, but also from his peers. Yet
Sorry.
eventually, his path was completely changed.
Sorry, I
He
bet
even became
that
a
was
leader
horrible.
for Xavier's X-Men.
But don't let his new goody two-shoes ways fool you. Whenever there's a threat to mutants, you
I
can
bet that sounded
Magneto will
horrible.
be there to annihilate it. Forever. By any means necessary.
Okay, who's this guy? I can skip these. No worries.
Now has 30
Cooking spent
in G
mad scientist
free.
death battle.
Who is this guy?
Over 30
I never
years
watched
ago, a new
Akira.
type of bomb was set off over Tokyo, and 9 hours later began the Third World War.
Welcome to 2030, or 2019 if you're watching the anime. The buildings are taller, the motorcycles are cooler, and the future is brighter. Oh, wait, not really. If you find yourself in the Capsule Gang, you'll meet Shotaro Kaneda, who's like your textbook anime Chad. Gets the ladies, beats the baddies, and cops the sweetest rigs. Man, I need to get me one of those.
And then there's the little brother of the group, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima. He's, well...
The exact opposite. A total wimp. As a kid, Tetsuo in his college thesis forehead got bullied for being the new kid at the orphanage. That's until Big Bro Kaneda came to the rescue.
Eventually, the two went to vocational school together and formed the Capsules. But Tetsuo was never satisfied with Kaneda being the leader of the pack. Tetsuo desired more than anything to be top dog.
I can just
Jealousy.
see that monkey's paw curling in my mind. Or that kid walking down the street. Shit! Tetsuo, watch out! You're gonna...
Jealousy.
That definitely should have killed him. But since it didn't, Tetsuo earned himself a ticket to military confinement. Turns out they had an under-the-table program for developing child superweapons.
In the same program that backfired and jump-started the war, Tetsuo became Japan's Esper number 41.
He may not have been a natural with bikes, baddies, or babes, but this telekinesis stuff hit different. He walked out of that hospital ward effortlessly flying, reading minds, and blending people into strawberry jelly. Tetsuo got what he wanted. Power, along with the hunger for more of it.
A hunger that used to only be satiated with drugs. And not just any gateway drug, pills so potent that a single gram of the stuff could kill you.
So, pretty bad. Kinda reminds me of college days, huh, Snow Wizard?
Tetsuo's main ability is his constantly increasing psionic energy, growing more and more powerful over time. This is due to Tetsuo's link to, quote, the memories of the universe, end quote. It's weird.
Either way, Tetsuo leveled up from lame gangbuster to certified badass. This guy is a walking natural disaster. His telekinesis can shake the planet, easily cause earthquakes over a dozen miles below the surface. He can summon psychic barriers for defense and crush
What's
those with
his
freaking
power?
gravity wells. He can dart around as a literal bolt of lightning, or even teleport in an instant.
Tetsuo's telekinesis can
So
be
he doesn't have a
precise,
specific
hard
power
to
like
break
Magneto, where he controls
body.
metal.
Heal severe wounds
He just can't do a
but
lot.
Even after losing a whole limb, he can craft a new one using whatever nearby materials he wants.
With these powers, Top Dog Kaneda didn't matter anymore. Who needed his approval? Tetsuo tasted that good shit and he was hooked. And when he found out another Esper named Akira could deal him even more power, he rampaged through Tokyo to find him.
And this is where versions of the story differ.
Ahem, spoilers ahoy!
You may be familiar with the 1988 animation, where Akira had been
I'm not.
dissected for research.
I'm not
However,
familiar
in the
with any of
original
it.
manga, Akira is not only alive, but even more powerful.
Once that little runt nuked Tokyo, Tetsuo would erect the Great Tokyo Empire with Akira and himself as its leaders. But he ended up just abusing the position for endless sex and inflating his ego.
With Kaneda's rebellion at his front door, Tetsuo took a turn for the worse. He had to fight.
Tetsuo's defeated other powerful espers, dodged light-speed lasers, and jumped to the moon faster than anyone could blink, and then punched a big old hole in it. And if you ask, Boomstick, wouldn't that mess up gravity on Earth? You would be right, because it totally did. Screwed the planet, I guess. Stupid moon.
Which brings us to Tetsuo's folly. His abuse of his powers spiraled until he lost control. Unfortunately for Kaneda's rebellion, this did not make Tetsuo an easier enemy to confront. Exactly opposite, in fact, has Tetsuo painfully mutated into an unstoppable behemoth.
Yep, that's not totally disturbing
Ooh.
at all.
Man.
I'm happy to say the manga's version is even more disturbing.
I mean, I know babies can be monsters, but that's a whole nother level.
It is pain incarnate.
This looks like
I
a-
can relate. Another
A Bayonetta
describes
boss.
Tetsuo's struggle as ego death, which has multiple definitions, but in this case is likely symbolic of the version attributed to drug use.
Yeah, it's described as a shedding of one's own identity, like how LSD can emulate a wild out-of-body experience, and you come back with a new perspective. Though this is maybe a little more extreme. In fact, you could say Tetsuo was shedding his human body to play with the powers of a god.
I wish I could shed out of my body.
Wow,
But in
why are
this
we
case,
seeing Rick and Morty?
Tetsuo going full out of body meant becoming a mound of raw, ever-expanding energy.
Which almost nuked Tokyo all over again. And those explosions are not normal. I would know.
Top scientists in both the manga and animated versions describe these explosions as births of a new universe.
Given its properties of nuclear fusion and proton collapse, Tetsuo's mutated form was likely creating a Big Bang.
You know, the thing that started
W-
our
what?
whole universe?
Right.
This
In the
guy
manga,
can
it
create
is
universes?
Espers and their abilities once and for all.
This is
A testament that
insane.
Humankind is unsuited to wield the powers of the divine.
Though the anime's even more trippy. Thanks to Akira and his buddies, Tetsuo got so high on ego death, he ascended time-space to become god of a new universe. Kinda worth it, right?
And yet, Kaneda kept his empire up in his honor, now as the Great Akira Empire. Ironically, in death, Tetsuo finally received the attention he so desperately craved.
This episode of
That anime is
Smoke Post.
Like, what they are telling me about Akira is crazy. I did not expect that much. But yeah, I'm guessing Magneto's gonna win. Here's the deal. When an anime character is fighting... Hold on, let me skip it. There we go. When an anime character is fighting a Marvel character, usually the anime character wins. Slightly. When a DC character is fighting an anime character, that's a whole different story, okay?
Through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Usually the DC character wins, because they are insane. They are way more powerful than you expect.
Even in Japan, they fail to recognize our superiority.
Wrong country, Grandpa! You're an Akira turf now!
He's quicker, I'm guessing.
You're dead meat!
Impudent child!
The hell are you calling child? I make the rules around here!
Ooh, nice animation there. That was pretty cool animation.
You're wasting my time.
Again, I'm guessing the anime is gonna win.
Tricks for the
Tetsuo, or whatever his name is.
I'll kill you!
Oh, this is getting hot. This is getting hot.
Your history, scumbag!
By the way, Magneto looks like his sprite in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. MVCI 2. He's beating him up. And of course, the Earth is destroyed. Oh, his helmet. It stops mind control.
I believe I've had enough tantrums to last a lifetime.
He's gonna mutate.
Listen, welcome, I'll handle this on my own! Not die! Hurts. Help me.
What? I think Magneto has been overwhelmed. Who won there?
Poor child.
Oh, nice. Magneto got him.
You are welcome.
I did not expect that.
KO! Tetsuo! Oh, God. I'm never doing that again.
Tetsuo's esoteric telekinesis and other bizarre abilities certainly gave Magneto pause, but the Master of Magnetism had greater control over his foe.
The numbers don't lie. Tetsuo cratering the moon was insane, but Magneto punched Iron Man with the force of the sun. And while Tetsuo jumped all the way to the moon, Magneto could move across galaxies.
Against Tetsuo in his human form, Magneto obviously held a sizable advantage in power and speed.
But stats aren't all that matters. With his precise telekinesis, Tetsuo could just target Magneto's organs. GG, right?
Yes, but Magneto had similar skills. There are very few substances on Earth that lack any metallic or magnetic component, and Magneto is very creative with his powers.
Yep.
Which he could use to predict Tetsuo's teleportation and even shut down his telekinesis. And his scraps with Xavier prove he could handle Tetsuo's messing with his head. The biggest challenge for Magneto was when Tetsuo's gross mutated power came into play.
Especially given how the detonations from this form were compared to that of a Big Bang. Although the authenticity of that observation is questionable. In truth, the Big Bang was a sudden expansion of matter on a universal scale, whereas Tetsuo's explosions are more akin to nuclear blasts, clearly intentional given the post-war symbolism of the Akira story.
The whole creating an alternate universe bit wasn't even part of the original material, so we can't exactly call it canon.
But let's just say the comparison wasn't superfluous. Let's say Tetsuo did in fact cause a Big Bang capable of creating and destroying an entire universe.
There isn't enough there to go
Turns out Magneto had the
on
tools
that.
to stop that too. Helmet Head could overpower Hercules, who was strong enough to hold up the skies of Olympus, which is literally heaven and an alternate universe.
This doesn't necessarily mean Magneto could easily destroy a universe with a snap of his fingers, but it does prove he can match a similar level of power. And context is everything. Tetsuo's Big Bang eruption specifically exhibited proton collapse, meaning its atomic structure was primarily an unstable mess of neutrons and electrons. And Magneto has detected and
Can you imagine being the one who's gonna have to like calculate a Big Bang? I mean, I'll be happy to do it over money, but
And I thought he could just move some
man,
metal around. It's like
seems
that
like a
question
constant
posed by
headache.
Some of the greatest prophets of our time. Fucking magnets. How do they even work?
Magneto's
That
astonishing
freaking
power
song.
and intelligent control over all things magnetism triumphed in the end.
Nice.
Tetsuo pushed his luck, but didn't have the metal to pull off the win.
The winner is Magneto.
Magnet Man.
Thank you for watching this episode. A whole death.
Next time, who's next? Hercules versus Son Goku. Wukong? I think it's Son Wukong. Which version of Hercules are they gonna use? And which version of Son Wukong are they gonna use? Because there are way too many of them. It's not like there's one Hercules. But yeah, that was fun to watch. I did not expect Magneto to win. Like usually whenever there is a fight, a calculated fight between a Marvel character and an anime character, the anime character usually wins because, again, they're written poorly. But yeah, if you're watching this and you feel like the guy who you've been cheering on, I mean, has lost, remember, calm down. It's only a video. It's for entertainment's sake. It doesn't matter. You're gonna die soon, okay? None of this matters. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this reaction video. Take care.